Welcome back to the Geelong Cricket Show. It's finals time and all attention in this particular segment will spend on the Barwon Peninsula Cricket Association. They started their semi-finals last weekend, and in the A grade, because of the inclement weather, we had a mixture of results and draws. Now the rules that apply in down here in our great city of Geelong, and particularly in the Barwon Peninsula Cricket Association, is that the sides that win obviously progress, but the highest ranked loser in the home and away series ladders are the fourth side that will progress out of the top six. So we hope we make ourselves a little clearer on that for you. The preliminary finals underway in A section of the BPCA. Tim Michell, Queenscliff, who finished on top of the ladder, made Rawlo eat the cricket ball. They take on the Drysdale Hawks. Can the Cooters continue their winning run?
Yeah, well, they were a little bit up and down, I think it's fair to say, in that game against Port Arlington last week. Had it been played, I know, having spoken to Tim Clark, he felt that they were in a fairly comfortable position at about 5 for 140, I think it was, when they were called off. So they still needed about 70 runs to beat Port Arlington, who managed to get 210, and their bowlers copped a little bit of stick, Queenscliff. So I think they'll come into this game knowing that Drysdale are a threat. Obviously, the Hawks played some fantastic cricket to knock over Collindina inside 45 overs last weekend for just 63. And one of the puzzling things about that, I'm not sure whether it was a credit to the Drysdale bowlers or not, but Collindina really didn't chase the game. They just went out there and saved it, and that gave Drysdale every chance of wrapping things up fairly comprehensively, and they did that, and it was a credit to Lee Allen and his boys down at Drysdale. Josh Inglis was one guy that really stepped up there, and I think he's one that's going to have to play a big role again if Drysdale are going to win away from home down at Queenscliff. Obviously, Queenscliff and Collindina are the sides that get home finals again, with the top two lucky enough to, for the first 2 weeks of finals on the Ballerine, get home finals. So whether that plays an advantage is also something that we'll wait and see over the Saturday and Sunday of the second week of finals, Graham.
Darren, one of your old foes, Lee Allen, he'll be looking forward to this particular weekend against Queenscliff. But Queenscliff, they're on a roll.
Yeah, obviously played a fair bit of cricket against Lee. He's a tremendous competitor and he's had a lot of finals experience. So I'm sure, even though probably Queenscliff are going in as favourites, that it'd be a bit dangerous to underestimate the Drysdale boys, especially with a Lee Allen in the team.
Anglesea, well, they drew against Barwon Heads, but it will be they'll be taking on Collindina, who had psychologically a bad day out last weekend, Tim, and one would think they're going to have to work hard to resurrect their chances. Yeah,
you're right there, Graham. I think, and I say it a lot about Anglesea, the key to their side is certainly their bowling. They managed to bowl Barwon Heads out last weekend for 160, but did struggle with the bat. They were 2 for 5 very early on and in a little bit of strife, and they can't afford to get themselves into that position if they do end up batting later today against Collindina. Collindina normally play their pitch fairly well. That's very uncharacteristic the way they did fold with the bat last weekend, especially at home, Collindina. So they'll be keen to resurrect that performance by going out there, and if they do end up batting later today, really putting 200 plus on the board and testing out that Anglesea batting lineup. Luke Weitenheimer in fantastic touch with the ball for Collindina, grabbing 6 wickets last weekend against Drysdale. So there's some good signs again for Collindina out of that loss that they did have last week. As you mentioned, Graham, they go on as the highest ranked loser, and it'd be very disappointing for the Cobras with the season they did have if they did end up bowing out in a straight set. So I think Cade Nork will have his boys set for what is a huge final for the Cobras, and they'll probably consider themselves, with the way they did play, obviously a lot of people looking at Queenscliff as the favourites, but in my mind, out of the 4 sides that are probably left, Collindina, if they hit their straps, are the best side on paper, and you'd have to say that, in my mind, I think they are favourites still for the BPCA Premiership, and if everything goes true, they should knock off Anglesea.
Darren, being a paceman yourself, how important is it to have a player like Luke Weitenheimer, a good strike bowler, in a finals proposition?
A good fast bowler is very important for the I suppose, finals cricket, so I'm sure that that would sort of leave Collindina in good stead. But in saying that, we had a 2020 game this year against Anglesea, and they played pretty well against us. They had a couple of bats at the top of the order. I think Brett Venables, who I think has made a century this year, might be one of the keys if Anglesea is to get a reasonable score, as long as they get a solid foundation at the start.
A grade of BPCA as we go to a B grade of the Barwon Peninsula Cricket Association. And here, Ocean Grove, after a magnificent batting effort last weekend, defeating Newcombe, they go up against Barwon, Tim Michell.
Yeah, it's obviously Ocean Grove were in a fantastic touch with the bat last week, and their B grade's got some really notable names in there. You look at a guy like Luke Hardiman, who's played a lot of A-grade cricket for Ocean Grove and really does stand up with the ball, and they did it very comprehensively against Newcombe last week. So Ocean Grove will carry a lot of momentum into this game, and I think that they'll rightfully enter it as favourites.
And I suppose, Darren, batting consistency is equally as important as strike bowler, and with Ocean Grove scoring 7 for 306 last Saturday, that would be a terrific confidence in the conditions.
Yeah, definitely. You come off a 300 plus score in the first final. You think the Ocean Grove batsmen are going to be pretty confident, but hopefully they can sort of put together a good start to their innings and build on that again.
Tim, the Port Arlington Demons take on the Queenscliff Cooters in the preliminary final in B grade of Bellarine. The Cooters had another chance?
Yeah, I think I give Queenscliff a huge chance. They've got a strike bowler down there, Daniel Maloney, who really is one of the tougher bowlers to face in B grade, and I'll face him a little bit opening the batting in the Barwon's B grade, and he really does test you out. He gets a lot of bounce extracted from the pitch. He's one of the taller guys in the B grade competition as well, and I think if he can make some early inroads into that Port Arlington batting lineup, which does have a fair bit of depth. Lee Vassalou, their captain's played a lot of A-grade cricket down at Port Arlington as well, so it's going to be a really intriguing clash. I think both sides could almost claim, it's probably on an even keel at the moment, both sides could claim in a sense the favouritism, but look, I think it's going to be a really close one. While Ocean Grove are probably favourites, and I think they'll knock over Barwon very easily, we're going to see an extremely tight finish in that game between Queenscliff and Port Arlington. And it's one of the real positives too for the Cooters as a club that they've got A grade and B grade, and they're the only club at the moment to have it too, A grade and B grade still playing in finals. And
in the C grade semi-finals, Barwon Heads, your beloved Barwon Headers, take on Colindina, Tim.
Yeah, the boys the C grade boys are the only club left, or the only side I should say left for Barwon Heads, and they've got a lot of talent in that side. Vin Lazaro heads it up, and he's a guy with a lot of GCA experience, having played first 11 at Highton, and there's just some real quality in that side that probably could have stepped up a lot. Danny Jensen's the leg spinner there that does rip a ball a hell of a lot too. So if Vin and Danny can get going, I think it's going to be a pretty easy win for Barwon Heads, and there's a reason that C grade side finished on top, because there is a lot of quality in it.
The Ocean Grove Grovers and the Drysdale Hawks do battle in the other C grade semi-final.
Yeah, and Ocean Grove are another side that have pressed their claims as well. They were knocked off by Barwon Heads a few weeks ago, but I think they'll be favourites heading into that one, and probably get the chocolates there, because they have played some really good cricket throughout the season, including a few outright wins in C grade as well. And
finally, in D grade in the Bellarine Peninsula Cricket Association, Queenscliff take on Port Arlington.
Queenscliff have been the side setting the pace in D grade all season, and I think they'll continue that on. I'm tipping a Queenscliff and Newcombe grand final, which is going to be one of the real highlights, I think, of the finals, because those two sides have both played some fantastic cricket over the season in the D grade, the one-day fixtures.
And Drysdale and Newcombe will also do battle in D grade as we go to a break on the Geelong Cricket Show, and be back to talk GCA after this.